Podcasting from Rome, Georgia, a beautiful little spot in the northwest corner of the state near the Appalachian Mountains. You're listening to Suburban Outdoorsmen with Sean and Kevin. Join us as we chronicle our journey, attempting to go from a couple of average suburban dads to competent, skilled outdoorsmen.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Sean.
And I'm Kevin. And today we decided to make a little change in our broadcasting schedule. We were going to do the next podcast about the outdoor stoves.
Right.
But today we decided to talk about our recent camping trip.
Right. And we are allowed to do that.
It's because we own it.
Because this is our show.
Yeah. So we'll just talk a little bit about how the experience went.
Yeah. From an experienced camper.
Yeah.
Somewhat. And
just
then
what we were prepared for, what we weren't prepared for, and what we'll do different next time.
Yeah, because as we were hanging around doing stuff, we started seeing a bunch of stuff we did wrong.
Yeah.
Or were wholly unprepared for.
At least we keep that theme consistent in all of our endeavors.
We
Identifying stuff we did
half
wrong.
prepared. And
So that's what we're going to talk about today.
yeah, awesome. And you might have also noticed, you obviously noticed because you put it up there.
Yeah.
But you listeners may have noticed that there's a little change in the intro music.
Yeah, we did that on our last episode and we forgot to talk about it.
Yeah.
But,
so if you're listening and you got all confused, this is why.
I don't know, hopefully we didn't lose people because they started it. Music was different. Oh, this is the wrong podcast.
This is a different group of guys.
Deleted it altogether.
But I like this one better.
Yeah,
I like the other music a lot.
Yeah.
It's very Quentin Tarantino-esque.
Yeah.
But it didn't really fit. So
See,
you found one that did fit.
And that's funny because I like the music as well. And I actually may use that music for something else I'm doing. Because I really like that music.
Are you moonlighting on that?
I mean, a friend that does something else is going to use it.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Aaron wasn't a big fan of that music.
Yeah, and I'm not sure anybody was
And
as it's attached to the podcast.
yeah, I mean, I liked it. She wasn't a big fan of it. I don't think she disliked the music overall. She just wasn't a fan of it in regards to outdoor-related items.
Yeah.
And we'd listened to a couple others, but we didn't really find anything that sounded good and we liked. But I think I
Where
found
did
this
you
one.
find this one?
This was on the YouTube library as well.
Oh.
I found this. Well, I found this when I was looking for something to use for the YouTube video.
Oh, okay.
Because we decided that it wouldn't. We'd figured this music wouldn't go as good with the YouTube video.
Right.
So I found something else to use, and actually it was for the intro, the little intro stuff we recorded for the YouTube video. And then I just played this with our voiceover and kind of liked the way it sounded.
Clicked.
So, yeah.
Well, I like it.
No, so we'll stick with this one for a while. At least a couple months.
Until
maybe.
something else clicks.
Yeah, exactly. So, besides camping,
Yeah.
what else did you do this week?
You know what I did. I took the family to go see Aladdin.
And it was Disney Magic?
It was Disney.
Yeah.
Aladdin was my movie as a kid. That's
Yeah.
the one I liked. I always sang all the songs.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. I loved Aladdin. And like when I first saw the preview for this one, the trailer, it only took a few seconds and I was like, I'm not gonna like this.
Yeah.
But I gave it a shot because
Yeah.
that's what I do. So I took the kids and they loved it, but it was just
But they're
kind
not
of
comparing it to the old one, are they?
no. I mean, they've seen it, but this is more geared toward that demographic.
Yeah.
The young kid. And
See-
the music didn't mesh. I mean, I like Will Smith and everything else he's done,
Yeah.
but this just wasn't his
Yeah.
arena.
Oh, see, and that's the thing. That was Aaron's movie. Was Aladdin was
Yeah.
hers. So, when we first got married, I remember that was, we'll go through spells where we'll have a movie we watch when we go to bed, like just kind of plays in the background as you're going. And for a long time, this was when we were on our honeymoon. That movie was playing in the background, not the whole time, just when we were doing other stuff around the house. And for a long time, that was a phase. And then we'd switch to something else, and then we'd go back. But that was always the Disney movie that we'd watch. And she felt the same way. As soon as she saw the preview, and the way the first preview she saw that had Will Smith and there's the genie, she was like, nope.
And the whole thing where it's his face, but someone else's body.
Yeah. Was it like a big buff body?
It was a big buff body, a lot like mine.
Disney had reached out to me and was like, hey, we've seen some of the stuff you've posted on your other channel. We're wondering if we could use it.
You're not blue enough, though.
Yeah. I always assumed it was going to be they were doing like some King Kong remake or something, like a Disney version of that. But yeah, so we haven't seen it yet because she's really not. But see, here's the thing: when I was growing up, a couple of my aunts, which is part of why, but a couple of my aunts, Beauty and the Beast was their thing.
Yeah, my wife.
And I grew up with that a lot. Like, that was just a movie I saw a ton. You know, I loved that movie. I loved the new version.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. It was very well done.
They, you know, it's, to me, that followed the original movie very closely.
Yeah.
There were some little, you know, there were obviously some new songs, but like some of the original songs, like the whole beginning, matched up so well with the first one. Like, enough to where the people who grew up with it liked it, but it wasn't like you're just watching the same exact thing with real people.
And I'm looking forward to The Lion King.
Lion King's looking like it would be cool.
So
hopefully we'll see. Maybe Aladdin's just a one-off thing. Cause,
and my kids are going to buy it. I'm going to have to watch it again. And
maybe I'll wait and watch it when you buy it.
Ugh.
That way I don't spend money on it. So at least we got to spend the weekend without any movies.
Yeah, that was
weekend.
And even for us, we're talking about camping now.
Yeah, that was the little segue.
That was the segue again. We're so good at this.
We got to get to the point where we can segue without having to state that we segued.
To tell people what just happened. No, even Madison, my middle daughter, she after a while she's like, yeah, I kind of liked not having my tablet or phone for the weekend. It was nice. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's good to disconnect.
Yeah.
So we enjoyed it. Again, I've been camping. It was a lot when I was a kid, and then it kind of waned off as I got older. But I've still been a bunch. This was your second time, as we discussed in the previous episode.
But that was 20 plus years ago.
Right.
And dude, I can't believe I can say something was 20 plus years ago, yet I was still old enough to be an early teenager. Wow.
I don't talk about that.
No, and other than Noah was going to play on Maddie's phone a couple times. Mm-hmm. On Friday, I think it was, when we were, you know, Jesse and I were getting stuff set up, and because you didn't bother joining us until Saturday.
Well, somebody had to work.
I did too. I just did it this morning. I just worked really fast and got it done. But I was like, no, we're not doing any tablets. And like I said, other than that, it was amazing because this was the whole weekend. Well, from Friday afternoon, all day Saturday, and half the day on Sunday. Nobody asked about tablets or wish we had my tablet. I wish I could play. It was nice. And
we didn't have a lot of activities there, but they still found ways to keep themselves occupied without the electronics.
I will say it was funny because when I was there on Friday, Maddie had her phone for a little bit. She was sitting under the pavilion area.
Yeah.
And Jesse and I were setting up the tent, and Maddox came over to Jesse and was like, I want to play on Maddie's phone and she won't let me. She says I can't play a game. And Jesse was like, no phones, no tablets, put everything away, find something to do. And Maddie was like, well, what do you want us to do? There's nothing to do. And Jesse's like, I don't know, go throw a pine cone or something like that, you know? And I was thinking about it, and unfortunately, I know it's not the case with all kids of this generation, but, you know, it's not as common to be outside playing as much. You know, when we were growing up, we didn't have the option of the tablets and video games and stuff. It was just going outside and finding something to do, like throw pine cones.
Yeah.
Our kids haven't done that as much. So that was one of the reasons why, you know, which we'll talk about a little bit, but I got the stuff for fishing with them. Is because I wanted to make sure I had some stuff to do with the boys.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want them just sitting around having a bad experience their first time going out because there's not anything to do.
Yeah. When I was younger, going camping, I don't remember having activities. But this was Florida. There was a jetty nearby. We did some swimming and stuff. But I don't remember doing a lot of activities.
Isn't that like a car? Volkswagen?
That was a Jetta, not a jetty.
What's a jetty?
It's like a rocks that jet out into the water.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So this is probably the coastal. But we might have done some fishing. I don't really remember. But I don't remember activities.
Yeah.
Like having stuff. But again, in our generation, we could occupy ourselves throwing a pine cone.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was thinking about. Like, I was looking back, and my brother and I used to play outside all the time. We were never in the house. But I don't really remember what we did.
Kick a can.
I remember, like, we used to sword fight with sticks and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember the one time we were the only thing I specifically remember, because I almost killed my brother, was we were playing Spies or something like that. We both had sticks. We had shaped like a gun a little bit, you know. And I was chasing him around the shed, in the backyard, and he had doubled back to meet me head on. Well, I had the stick like a gun kind of raised up like I was face level aiming with it. So when I ran around the one corner of the shed and he ran around the other way, the stick hit him square on the nose. Unfortunately, it was a flat enough tip end of the stick that it just landed flat on his nose and knocked him back. Like, I mean, a little bit of a slant to that stick and it would have slid off his nose through his eye either direction.
Wonderful.
But it knocked him unconscious. And he actually lost about 5 minutes of his short-term memory. When he woke up, he didn't because we had literally just gone outside and started playing when that happened. He didn't remember going outside. When he woke up, the last thing he remembered had been us in the house finishing cleaning the kitchen.
That's crazy.
Which of course didn't help because my parents had assumed what happened is that they didn't believe the story because I showed them the stick and like, I mean, so fortunate that that's what happened, but they didn't believe that it just happened to hit him just right on the nose, that it didn't go through, hit his eye either way. You know, there's no way that could have been by chance.
And so you're still maintaining this lie in case they're listening?
Exactly, just in case they're here. But they were convinced that I got mad at him and hit him in the face with a stick. But I'm like asking, but he can't remember any of it, so I have nobody to validate my story.
It's a perfect cover.
Until the day I die, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But anyway, that's the only specific thing I remember, and that's because of that happened. But other than that, like I said, I don't remember specifics of what did we play outside, you know? But, so let's talk about this. So, Friday, when I was getting ready, you know, when we first started talking about camping, I think, okay, I got sleeping bags for the kids, I've got a tent, so we're good to go.
I had a mental note about what I needed, but I really didn't plan it because we kind of canceled it at one point, and then we jumped on again. So I didn't really have anything planned.
Yeah.
So it was just throwing stuff together. And it turns out that poor planning costs a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
So this, what ended up being a one-night trip for our family, because we were a day late coming.
Yeah.
What ended up being a one-night trip cost us about $400.
Yeah.
Just to pick up stuff that we needed for one day.
We probably spent around that just for, but I mean that was all. But see, that on me though was also, I bought fishing poles for myself. Because now, granted, I didn't spend a lot on the fishing poles. I got those. They were Shakespeare, which I haven't been fishing in years. I'm involved, but growing up, Shakespeare and Zebco were the two rod and reel combos that I remember always being the good ones that you wanted to use. And so these were the collapsible ones, and you buy them at Walmart. They were $20 a piece, and they came with a little bit of a tackle and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But that was the reason I got them, is because they're the collapsible ones, so I can pack them in a bag easy. They're lightweight. They're not going to be for big fish. You're not going to be able to use them go out and catching monster bass or anything like that, or any real big catfish probably. But it was at least something. But still, $20 a piece times 3 boys and 1 for me. That's $80 on fishing poles. So we didn't have a tackle box, and I didn't spend much on that. That was like $12 for the tackle box.
But everything's.
But I found one that was like the exact. It was a Plano, something like that.
Plano.
Tackle box that was
Texas.
the dark brown on the bottom and light brown on the top. That was the tackle box I had when I was a kid. That brand, that coloring, opened up with the 2 levels in there. So I bought that one. Got some bobbers and hooks and stuff along with the tackle. I figured, like, I bought some crappie bait, and I couldn't find. We were just going to fish for bluegill. Was kind of what the plan was. I wasn't sure how the crappie bait would work, which it didn't. Didn't catch anything on that. And we also I bought some Slim Jims to use for bait, because I've caught bluegill on like the little beef jerky Slim Jim type things before.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I caught a largemouth bass with a piece of bologna. When I was living at home, my parents had a house across the street from a lake there in Florida. So I used to go fish, and I would catch bluegill and bass out of that lake there. And I was actually, somebody said they thought there was catfish in there also, and he had recommended using the bologna to try and catch the catfish. Well, I cast the bologna out, I was pulling it back in, and actually the bass came up from under the dock. Like, I saw it as I was reeling up to the dock. I saw the bass come up, open its mouth, and swallow the chunk of bologna, and I hooked him and pulled him up right there. It was like 3.5 pound bass.
And the catfish was like, "Oh no, this is bologna."
Exactly. That's actually my buddy him and his dad who fished a lot. That's what he said when I told him I caught on a piece of baloney. He's like, "What?" He's like, "That story is baloney." I was like, swear to God, that's what I caught it on, dude. So Friday, got everything set up. I will say the one downside, Aiden came out there with Jesse.
Yeah.
But I guess they had forgotten his fishing pole. And Maddox had one, but it was broken. So I ended up having to fix Maddox's. And so I felt a little bit bad because Aiden wanted to fish at first too. And I'm told we were going to give him a chance to fish, but I was like, I bought for the boys. It was their first time getting to use it.
Can't really take theirs. Yeah.
But he did that. Like, he asked, and I just told him, hey, look, I bought these for the boys. It's their first time getting to give it a try, so I need to let them use it for a little bit. And then, so he actually was hanging out with him too, just helping him pick spots to cast. But I think part of what helped of him not being too worried about it was that first night, nothing, no nibbles, no bites on the crappie bait or the beef jerky. So I ended up going up to the bait shop that was down the road from the campground there that next morning, and I bought some worms. And didn't really get much off that at first, but after about an hour, Seth was the first one to start getting some nibbles. And then he got a small bluegill. And like, that was the most excited I've seen him in a long time. Like, he was so excited and giddy and happy and giggly about catching, and it was only, it was maybe 4 inches. So it really wasn't that big. Pretty tiny, actually.
Yeah.
And he was just, but still, it was the first fish he caught, so he was ecstatic about it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty neat.
And so I was glad I did that. It spent a bit of money, but it was something at least that had a good experience. The boys helped with their camping experience. Him and Noah both at least caught a bluegill. Ethan didn't catch anything, but he still had fun.
Did Aiden catch anything?
No.
He's caught some stuff in our lake, so at least he's...
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he's caught some fish there, fishing here before. So, yeah. But I will say, one thing I did forget about when you're fishing with kids, so I had the fishing pole for me. It was a benefit that I had it because Ethan got his tangled up real bad at one point, and I let him use mine. I really didn't get to do any fishing because especially on Saturday when Aiden had his, so Saturday afternoon and then Sunday morning when we were fishing, between 5 boys fishing, I spent most of my time untangling fishing rods and getting fishing hooks out of trees and
out of skin,
getting everything out. Fortunately, nobody really. I think
hooked.
Seth scratched his thumb on the hook when he was first trying
I think Madison did
put a worm on.
Yeah.
But other than that, fortunately, nobody stabbed anybody with any hooks.
Good.
So that was one expense we had. That's
Yeah, we ended up. Well, what I realized the things I need to work on. I made a brief list here. So we did not have proper, at least on our end, we did not have proper prep of our tent.
Yeah.
And as a result, we had to buy a new tent. I've realized that I should have a written down list of things, and I can expound on these in a minute. But we should have had a list written down. And in the past, we've done that, but we just didn't.
But you've got a list on
but
your
I've got
list
a list
now.
here about a list.
Yeah.
Planned activities for kids, planned meals, and firewood, which I hadn't even thought about just because it's in woods, but it's really not that heavily wooded.
Yeah.
Well,
it's...
But you had sent a picture earlier, or the day previous, that there was a lot of wood laying around, so I didn't think about it.
Yeah. They had all that pine, but it was blocks of pine.
Yeah, somebody had supplied all that. Now, if they hadn't, then we would have been searching for wood. So it would have been a good idea to bring some firewood.
Now, I will say with that, so I had an idea, which I didn't do because I saw that pine there. We gathered some sticks, and actually Jared coming out there on Saturday helped out with the idea of using the tomahawk to split some of that.
Yeah, no, that was a good thing.
Because that was a good idea. I hadn't thought about that. At first I was thinking, because it's not really a hatchet I have, it's a tomahawk.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, okay, it's not going to be good for chopping this, but not thinking about it, after his suggestion of standing it up on end and going with the grain to just hit it on the grain, it's a soft enough wood.
Cutting off tinder.
That split a bit really good to help to get it going. But what I had thought about doing until I went out there on Thursday and saw that all that wood was there is I had a tarp. I was going to bring that tarp basically, and I guess it still would have been cool to do this to kind of show the kids, and it would have been something for us to do, but basically you would tie some of the string I've got in the rope I've got in my carry bag, tie that around and make a giant loop on the end of the tarp. You can lay that down and just everybody starts putting firewood on there, and then you use that to kind of drag it over to the firewood place. Because that would have worked. But down where we had our tent set up, in that wood area, there was a crap ton of dead limbs and some decent-sized ones out in there also.
I didn't look past that.
So we could have gotten more than enough firewood gathering.
That's good.
But the walking distance there and with the kids, that would have gotten really boring for them really fast.
Yeah.
Because we probably would have spent a couple hours making the trips to gather
and
firewood.
if we planned on that, then we could have all the kids spend 10 minutes, just do 1 or 2 trips each, and that would bring up plenty.
But that's where the tent, making a little sled out of the tent would have been helpful, because then
a good idea.
drag it around, everybody piles the wood on it, drag it back to the tent, or back to the camp, and you got a lot done in a short amount of time.
So,
but that's firewood's a good...
Yeah. And as far as planned meals, we just kind of bought some stuff, and we made it work. I know we had most of it planned, I guess.
Yeah.
But I would like to have a little bit more preparation for that.
Yeah.
And even pre-prepping some things, like we were making broccoli.
Yeah.
And we just had bought the heads of broccoli. It probably would have been a good idea to prep that stuff at the house and just put it in a bag.
No.
Just some things to...
That could also be argued that's part of the... that could be an enjoyable part of hanging out outside, just...
Yeah.
So, I mean, we had...
And I also forgot utensils.
Yeah.
So we had to use your knife to cut the broccoli.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. It was funny because Melissa was making fun of me having that knife on my belt on Friday. But I was like, how many times throughout the weekend was somebody, hey, Kevin, let me borrow your knife?
Well, and I meant to bring mine. I had it on my mantle. And I
cannot believe...
Yeah, and I didn't bring my big Bowie knife.
Yeah. Very disappointed in you.
Again, I was not prepared for this.
No.
I'm surprised I didn't just go and buy one for $100.
With as far as meals on our side, so I didn't have anything for Friday night planned out initially, because I thought, again, I didn't think anybody was coming except us Friday, because originally we talked about canceling and you guys were going to come out on Saturday and spend Saturday night. I hadn't planned on anybody else being there on Friday. I thought it was just going to be me and the boys, and I knew I had to work on Friday, and we weren't going to be getting. It doesn't get dark until 8:45, 9 o'clock.
Something like 9:30.
So, yeah, it was late today. But I had planned on finishing work, going to the store to grab a few things, and not heading out there until around 6. So I was just going to stop and grab us something to eat, Burger King or something like that, just to eat. Boys could sit at the camping or the tables and eat while I was setting the tent up. And then once I found out Jesse was there with Maddox and Aiden, and Maddox was like, okay, I'm not going to bring other food. So I talked to them and found out they were making hot dogs. So I kind of rushed to just get some hot dogs and buns and random things. We had planned that we were going to do steak for dinner on Friday.
Right.
And then I just bought a couple packages of bacon, sausage, and a couple dozen eggs.
We made it work. I should have brought some potatoes. I didn't think about it until we were there.
That might have been good. Well, I was really hoping that we were going to catch some fish, because I've doing some reading. There's a lot of people that go up there and fish. And there's been a lot of people that have caught a lot of fish up there.
I was watching a lot of these people fish, and I didn't see
I
much
didn't see
reeling in.
Yeah, I didn't either. So maybe it was just because of how hot it was, or I don't
know enough about fishing to tell
I'm not. I fished freshwater. I have not. This was the first time in
20 plus years.
No, not quite. But let's say this: it's the first time, and at least since I've been married, so last almost 16 years, 17 years, so maybe 20 years. But actually, no, you're right. It has been 20 plus, because I stopped freshwater fishing when I was saltwater fishing with my aunt and uncle a lot. Because I love saltwater fishing. So much more fun than freshwater fishing.
I've been once. It wasn't a great experience.
Yeah, that's because...
No, it's not a bad fish.
Well, you got seasick, didn't you?
No. Well, kinda.
Nah.
I might have, a little bit.
I thought you told me you got seasick. I don't know.
I got seasick another time.
I loved going out on the boat. But see, like, to me, everything about being on the ocean is... Okay, so here's a comparison. I hope you understand my opinion on this. So you've got a lake and you've got the ocean. The lake is like the stuff from your everyday carry bag. The ocean I mean, even just being out on the boat. I mean, you're out on a lake and it's calm and the water doesn't move much.
Yeah.
Even if there's some wind blowing and you can see the water move. Not on the ocean you're rocking and the boat's moving and flowing.
And
so much more.
I've done the deep sea thing.
Well, even not just deep sea, even just going off the coast.
You see, there are ocean people and there are lake and river people. I'm a lake and river guy.
I'm an ocean guy in West Georgia.
That's a great place.
Yeah.
That's why I hated Florida.
Fun
I was
fact,
close to the beach, but I never...
Fun fact about Georgia.
Allow me. All right? There are, as far as I know, there are no natural lakes in Georgia. There might be some small ones.
So I looked
there are
it
no
up.
natural lakes in Georgia.
I looked it up. And what's funny is most of the websites, including some of the like natural ones from Georgia, the way they word it is most lakes in Georgia are man-made. But I read from what I think
By Georgia Power.
Georgia Power or the Army Corps of Engineers. Those are actually the two biggest ones created. But I think the reason they word it most lakes and they don't just flat out say all lakes is because basically the way they worded it is because of how many rivers and streams there are in Georgia and the topography of the land, it doesn't allow much for natural lakes. It tends to be more wetlands.
Yeah.
But from what I was reading, certain times, especially if there's a lot of rain and flooding, there are areas where a temporary lake could form.
And the definition of a lake versus a large pond, it's, forgive the term, it's fluid. It's a gray area about what a large pond is versus a lake.
But I did find that interesting because that was a big point they made, that all of the bodies of water in Georgia outside of rivers are man-made.
And when I heard that blew my mind.
And again, that was the other thing too. I never would have guessed that it's between the Army Corps of Engineers and Georgia Power.
Because coming from Florida, there are lakes around every corner.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Anyway, lake people, ocean people.
Right.
So,
I had also, we talked about meals there, so I had activities for kids.
Yeah.
You had, was that you that brought the Connect 4?
No, that was
Jesse
that brought that.
So it was a larger Connect 4.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the board was like 2 feet.
Yeah.
So it was a big thing, and they had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, they did.
But, like, I've got a giant Jenga set I didn't think about bringing.
Yeah, that would have been cool to have out there. Backup firewood.
Exactly. But just some other activities to keep them occupied.
I brought a Frisbee.
Did you? Man, I was about to buy one, but
it wasn't like the normal. It wasn't a real hard Frisbee. Like the normal, it was a little bit softer edge around it. Mm-hmm. And I bought that just because I knew we were going to have a couple of the littler kids there.
I would have thrown a Frisbee.
Well, you didn't get there till Saturday, and I'd forgotten about it by then. And I brought a soccer ball, which they played with a bit too.
Oh, yeah.
And then on Saturday, when we had some of the other people over there, they just came to hang out for the day and kayak. We had a period of time where the kids were running around with trash can lids and kayak paddles and conquering the world.
Yeah. And some of the moms were like, oh no, they're going to get hurt. I'm like, oh, just let them go because they're kids.
Yeah.
Bunch of boys swinging
I was worried.
Paddles around.
Honestly, I was worried that...
These are plastic paddles. Let's just be... They're not wooden oars.
Yeah, not wooden oars. I actually, in honesty, I was expecting somebody to get mad that they were playing with the paddles. Like, oh, you're going to ruin the paddles. And I mean, I didn't care, partially because they're not mine. But even if they were mine, I didn't figure they weren't banging on trees with them. And,
no, they weren't even hitting each other with them.
They were just kind of running around. Yeah. But again, it gave them something to do. Like, that is the kind of stuff we did when we were kids.
Yeah.
You find something to make a sword and a shield or a spear.
I've got a picture of my brother and I. We were covered in priority mailboxes. I got to find this and post it, maybe.
Yeah.
But they're like on our arms, and on our body, and up on our legs, and
that was your armor.
We were in the front yard, swinging belts at one another.
That's funny. So. My brother did that once. I don't think we used priority mailbox. I don't think we could afford those when I was a kid.
We had a bunch. They were. We didn't buy them. They were left over from something.
Well, I was joking because you can usually get those for free from the post office.
Not a stack of them. You have to use them.
They don't care. You can go in and grab a bunch of those things.
Well, I had priority mailboxes. You probably had some titanium.
Oh, that's true. I actually had FedEx overnight. No, I remember my brother and I did that. We made armor out of boxes, and it was like we weren't trying to be, but you ended up kind of looking like robots a little bit by the time you finished with that.
Yeah, this is about what we had here because they were just flattened boxes.
Yeah, so. But at least, like I said, again, that was an activity the kids did that didn't involve.
Yeah,
I
was thrilled that they were able to find that creativity. I like that.
And they were like I said, we didn't get there till a bit later on Friday. We set the Ted up a little bit late. We did some fishing Friday. Got a fire going, had the hot dogs. We did some s'mores. They ran around and played hide and seek. I one thing I did get at Walmart, which I don't know if your kids actually brought any of them home or not. I mean, it doesn't matter. I wasn't expecting them to make it beyond the campsite, but you know the little cheap dollar flashlights.
At Walmart? Yeah, we saw those actually.
So I got all the kids one of those, and all the kids one of the headlamps. So I got yellow for your kids, I got green for my kids, and
there are some around here. I don't know.
But I did it that way so I couldn't do everybody's favorite colors, and
there are only 2 or 3 colors. I thought,
there's only a couple colors there. So, but I got those. So I figured, okay, we're going to be at the campsite. It's going to be dark. Yeah. I didn't realize there's actually a giant street light in the parking lot that had a section lit up.
We'll have to talk about the campsite in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll go through that. But I bought those because I was like, what? How many kids? We had 7, so $14.
Yeah.
For 2 flashlights for each of them, the headlamp and the regular flashlight. I was like, okay, that's a good investment just to give them some fun at night. And Friday night, they, I don't know, for an hour and a half, ran around playing hide and seek with the flashlights.
See, I love that. I love playing hide and seek in the woods.
They would go. One of them stood over by our tent and faced the lake and counted to whatever number they were counting, where everybody else went off and hid. They used their flashlights to find a hiding place and then turn their flashlights off while the other person had to come try and find them. So they had a blast with that until once it got close to 10 o'clock, I told them they had to, one of the campsite rules there is that you can't have any loud noises after 10 o'clock. So I had to have them quiet down after that. And trying to get a bunch of kids to play hide and seek quietly in the dark is not the easiest thing. So we stopped after that and then did s'mores. But point of that was they did a little bit of running around on Friday, but not a ton. And when we woke up, we had originally been worried about it being too hot, how hot it was going to be.
It was actually quite cool.
So Friday, since we didn't set the tent up till later, it wasn't in the sun a lot. It was cool. It was really nice Friday night, but Saturday morning, being that close to the lake too, and the chill coming off the lake, I woke up about 5:30 and I was actually cold.
Yeah, I heard.
It was really chilly in the tent. The boys woke up around 6. And they kind of laid there, but I think same thing. They were too cold to really go back to sleep. So, we all kind of laid there for a bit. We ended up getting up by 7. But Saturday, with all the running around they did, the playing with Dylan and, whoever else was there when they were there.
Yeah.
By the time, we still didn't go to bed till late on Saturday night. But Seth woke up around 8:30, I want to say. Which, surprisingly, with all the noises outside, the birds and the squirrels and the sun coming in, I was surprised even he slept that late. I had to wake Ethan and Noah up at 10. Like, they were still passed out hard. It was almost 10 o'clock, and they were still, passed out.
I was up at 6, and I just kind of hung out and waited for Kristen to wake up.
Yeah. Yeah, I did the same. Well,
I probably should have gotten up. I would have enjoyed sitting out just...
Yeah, well...
sitting over the lake, watching the sun.
I was worried if I got up, it would wake them up, and I wanted to let them sleep a little bit longer. Yeah. I couldn't go back to sleep because Ethan got sick that night in the middle of the night. He had woken up coughing, and I could tell by his cough it was that I'm about to be sick cough.
Yeah, so I was a whole bunch of blow pops and
all the blow pops and the s'mores and all the plus the kids had been worried about how cold they were Friday night. So they ended up overbundled Saturday night, and then with the tent having been out in the sun all day and it didn't get as cool, it was a bit warm in the tent Saturday night. So I think it was the sugar and the overheating and all that. Yeah. He woke up around 1:30. I was able to open the tent up, and he got his head out before he got sick, so it made it all outside. But I woke up at about 5:30 and had to pee, and I was like, I don't know what kind of mess is waiting for me outside this tent. So I just laid there for a while, and then it got to the point where I couldn't go back to sleep because I had to pee too bad. But it was, that's another part of the planning. I should have done a better job of looking at the weather for both nights, what it was supposed to be like.
Well, we knew it was going to be cooler. I mean, we had canceled it because it was going to be hot.
Yeah,
but it did get considerably cooler. But yeah, it was starting to go up after that first night.
Now, anything you bought or brought with you?
Excuse me. Lots
anything? Anything you bought extra to bring with you or brought that you ended up not needing or wouldn't do again on your next camping trip?
Not really. I think everything we bought had a good use.
Yeah.
And most of it we'll be able to use it again.
Yeah.
Going down the road. The only things we bought that were consumable was, the food.
Yeah.
Everything else we're going to... Our plan is to because we've done this before.
Yeah.
This will fall under the list needed, I guess. Having everything you need on a checklist, a nice laminated list.
Yeah.
Or at least on the phone.
Something saved digitally.
Yeah. And have a couple of just big totes.
Yeah.
And have all the stuff in totes. We ended up having to buy 2 air mattresses.
Wait, you went camping with air mattresses?
Well, because my wife needs an air mattress.
So that's one.
And then Kayla needed an air mattress.
So you didn't sleep on an air mattress?
I did. I wish I wouldn't. It was miserable. I can't sleep on
There was a Residence Inn down the street.
That would have been a better idea. I would prefer to sleep on the ground in a sleeping bag. I'm more comfortable that way.
I
like sleeping in a bed with my wife. So, but all this stuff we'll just put in tote bags
and have for the next trip.
Because
right now we at least have planned doing it again in September.
Yeah.
I don't know whether we'll do it before that or not, but at least in September we're going to
probably not again. There. I wouldn't mind going camping in our back 40.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to come along one day, or even in that path that I made.
Yeah. But we'll go back there in September.
Yeah.
I agree. I've started working on a list. I didn't bring it with me, but making a list of items to keep. Because again, so when you go into some of the stuff that we forgot, I wanted to bring one of our cast iron skillets to cook in.
Well,
I forgot to bring it. Well, yeah, but you didn't come until Saturday. So I had wanted to get a bigger one for using out on the grill and stuff, so I ended up buying one at Walmart. Not the best cast iron skillet, but it's still workable, and I wanted it for outdoor, not something I care about too much.
Yeah.
Same thing, we forgot to bring utensils, so I ended up buying from the camping section in Walmart one of those little stainless steel. It's a spoon on one end, the fork on the other, and then the fork has a little bit of a knife edge to it, which the kids liked. They thought that was really cool.
Yeah, we did disposable stuff, but I wouldn't mind next
having
time
something like
doing the other.
Yeah. I think the other thing, and again, I think I agree for the most part. I don't think there was anything really that I brought that we didn't need or I wouldn't bring next time, except for because, again, I didn't have a list of what I wanted specifically for all the meals and snacks. I bought way too much food. Especially snack stuff. I ended up buying 2 loaves of bread. We didn't even use a full loaf.
That kind of goes back to doing the meal prep.
Yeah.
Just having that stuff laid out so you only bring what you need, because with camping especially, this kind of falls into hiking also. If you're doing any kind of hiking, you don't want overage.
Yeah.
You want what you need.
And we're not doing surviving out in the woods for 3 days type camping.
Right.
We're doing family camping.
Yeah. But it's better to not have an excess.
Yeah. I think what I would do, at least for lunches, for example, next time I would probably make the sandwiches ahead of time.
Yeah.
And just put the sandwiches in the cooler.
Yeah. I agree.
Brought way too much water. And again, I'm not as worried about that. I'd rather have more water than not enough. But we did end up with way too much water. I wish I would have brought a couple more Gatorades, because that would have been useful. I was definitely craving something more than water after a lot of the activities and being out in the sun.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
I brought one of the bigger Gatorades, but I don't remember what size they are, but the small skinny bottles.
We brought some Capri Sun for the kids, and we shouldn't have. I don't want to do that again. I don't like bringing sugary drinks.
Yeah, I would say that's probably a little bit too much sugar for the sun.
And otherwise, we pretty much only drink water. But it would probably be a bad idea to bring something
that's something. I mean, it was hot enough and warm enough that we were probably all burning off electrolytes pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I wish I would have brought a few more Gatorades. But as far as the snacks go, same thing. I think next time I would just probably put some snacks in Ziploc bags and bring those.
Yeah.
I bought a box of Cheez-Its. I mean, the kids did I brought the Ritz crackers because Seth wanted some of those. Mm-hmm. All the kids ended up eating some of the Ritz crackers. I bought a package of the individual snack packs for the peanut butter crackers. Mm-hmm. And the cheese crackers, which were good. So stuff like that's good. But I did have an abundance of snack type foods that we brought back home on Sunday.
Yeah, and that's it's kind of annoying, especially when you start packing up.
Yeah,
I would rather pack up
a lot less
than what we did.
Yeah,
but again, even things like having the totes make it easier because
then you just put it all in the totes and you load the totes up.
Two or three
I literally just by the end of when we were packing up, I just was getting plastic bags from the groceries and putting crap in it and throw it in the back of the car. And I was like,
I wasn't even doing that. I was just throwing stuff in the back seat. So there's probably still stuff in my back seat.
When Erin got in the van today, because this is the first time we all went somewhere since we got back, and she got there, she's like, "Why is this in here? And why is this in here?" And I was like, "Oh, I forgot to take them out when I got back."
So much garbage. So. Yeah. So I'd say, a list would be a good idea, and some better planning ahead.
Yeah.
As far as our tent situation, I just bring that up because we did have an issue with the tent.
Yeah.
We set it up prior, but we didn't really look at it too much. There ended up being a few small holes in it and things like that.
Which tent?
The one that Jesse was using.
Okay.
It's a very old, worn tent.
Yeah, Jesse said that was the one that Kristen's dad bought, like back when they were teenagers.
It's 20 plus years old.
Yeah.
And it's one of those quick setup tents. At least it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I guess when it was taken down, something happened and something got twisted and didn't work out right. So putting it back up showed some issues.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of trouble getting it back up. So there ended up being some extra tents purchased, and brought down there, and we ended up just using one of those. So we ended up buying a tent.
Yeah. I like that tent though. It's the same kind we have.
Yeah, it worked out well. However, I think we're gonna buy yet another tent.
Yeah. Same kind or?
Well, the bigger ones.
Yeah.
There are some nice tents out there.
There are.
There's tents that, if you have power, they have lights in them. They have, places to plug up your devices. I know it's not really camping.
Now you're kind of borderlining.
But sometimes that stuff is nice to have.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize until Saturday that there was actually a power outlet there. So
yeah.
I guess we'll talk about in a minute, like you said, what the campground was set up like, after we get through this stuff. But I want to get we need to get a new tent. Because I bought this one in Colorado 20 plus years ago. No, no, probably about 6 years ago. First time we ever used it camping, but I've sent it up a crap ton of times. When our house in Colorado, the loft was actually big enough upstairs where I could send that tent up in the loft upstairs. So the boys had that as like a little fort up there that was up forever.
Yeah.
And then we had it up in the backyard here for actually a couple months. Like I had it set up and then I just moved it around so it didn't kill the grass. But that would be kind of like the quiet area where we'd send the boys out to go play, so we could have some quiet in the house since the house is so small. Even when it was raining out, because it's a nice tent that's waterproof. Mm-hmm. So even when it was raining, we'd wait for a break in the rain and send the boys outside to play.
That's nice.
Well, I mean, they were playing on electronics, but they'd go out in the tent and play.
It's fine.
And, that way they could yell and be loud all they wanted to out there. So with all that, the tents got a little bit worn. One of the poles broke, like just snapped off. So I had to, I had to basically brace it with a couple of the pegs that you use to drive it into the ground. I kind of made braces out of that with a bunch of Gorilla Tape to make it work. And then a couple of the other poles are starting to split where they're going to go out soon.
Well, tents are not too expensive anymore.
No, but I want to get that one. It says it sleeps 6 or 8.
It says it sleeps 8.
But that's
it will if you have 8 people and sleeping bags and you take off the room divider.
And you got to do it and just lay them out the right way.
Yeah.
And it's got, like you said, it's got the room divider, but all that is just a sheet that hangs down the middle.
Yeah.
And it basically, but see, like for Aaron and I, we got the 2 of us and the 3 kids.
Yeah.
It's not really going to work for us to divide the room that way.
Yeah. So what our plan is to have a tent for the kids and a tent for her and I.
Okay. See,
next time we go camping, we're going to do 2 tents, one for them.
I'm torn between whether I'm going to do the 2 tents, because I thought about that too, one for them, one for us,
or 5 tents,
or doing one of the, instead of spending the money and buying 2 tents, buy one tent that has the rooms in it.
Yeah. Well, and that's what the tent that didn't go up well.
Yeah.
That was a 4-room tent.
Okay. I never went inside.
So there's 3 on the outsides and there's
one big one in the middle and then 3 separate outside ones.
Yeah. So it works. It works well. We've camped in that before, and we just put the kids in the outside rooms, and us in the middle or somewhere along there, and it works well. But we're gonna do our own tent just because we're adults and we like to do adult things.
Yeah. That was one of the thoughts, because
play checkers or whatever.
Yeah. I had told Erin I wanted her to come so that we could play checkers, and she was like, "No, we can't play checkers with the kids in the tent."
Right. So you need a separate tent.
We need a separate tent, or at least one with a room, and then we can just play checkers until the kids do go to sleep, put their headphones on.
That's not gonna work.
But that campground is definitely big enough that even if you had 2 tents and we had 2 tents, and Jesse and Melissa have a tent, and
we can invite 5 more people with
plenty of room.
Yeah.
So, overall, recapping what we just talked about, I think it was a good experience good first time. I mean, this was really my first camping experience.
The kids enjoyed it because they really didn't see any of the troubles.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's fine. They had fun. They didn't see that we spent a whole bunch of money. Well, they kind of did.
I was going to say when I was at Walmart with the boys, because I had to buy a few other things plus the food and groceries. So the trip at Walmart right before we came to the campground, I spent like $180.
Yeah.
And Seth was like, they were counting it up as I was ringing stuff up. And, hit 100. Oh, there's 105. 100. It was 180. And like, oh my goodness, $180. Like, this is an expensive camping trip.
Yeah. It's like go sleep in the woods.
Yeah.
So they had fun. They didn't get to see. They didn't have to, go through some of the hassles that we did.
Yeah.
The minimal prepping as it was. But,
yeah.
But yeah. So having a list, having more activities for kids that are planned. Again, I say planned meals. A little bit more.
I agree.
And
So good experience, a good takeaway of what to do better next time.
Yeah.
And then hey, maybe we'll do after we do the camping in September, we'll do another follow-up episode and see
if we do any better.
How it compared.
We were supposed to do a podcast there. We're supposed to record
No, we were going to record the YouTube
video
for the everyday
EDC.
carry bags.
And at that time, so we were going to do one for the EDC. We're going to do one just showing the
camping trip,
a separate video. But the mics got left.
Well, it wasn't just that the mics got left. It just also poor planning from all of us. Yeah. It was a bit of a fiasco for a little bit there. Plus, then we had all the other people that were over at the beach that came and joined us.
But
I enjoyed having the other people there for a little bit. It kind of messed up where we lost a bit of the time. And then Sunday, I think everybody was just exhausted on Sunday morning, and I don't think that would have been a good time for us.
Yeah, that was kind of my plan in the end. But yeah, you're right. We were a little tired.
I usually am.
No,
but I never get tired of hearing it. So
had we recorded a video, you would have been able to see the campsite, and it was pretty neat.
It was pretty cool.
I liked it. It's at a place in North Georgia, Rocky Mountain Project.
Is that part of Rome, or is that outside of Rome?
No, it's it might be Somerville. I don't know what this city is.
I'll have to look up and see. I don't know.
But it's just, let's say Rome Metro.
Okay.
But it's a Georgia Power lake.
Yeah.
And they built a campground around it, and there's a swimming area.
Yeah.
So, but the lake is pretty big, and there's a couple alcoves, and one of the alcoves is where this campground is. So there's a whole camping section for just general camping.
Yeah. And that's a first come, first serve.
That's first come, first serve. There's, 50 campsites out there or more.
Yeah.
And it gets really busy, really loud.
Yeah. When I drove through, even Thursday, when I went up there to check it out ahead of time, it wasn't completely full on Thursday, but it was pretty close, and it was like Disneyland up there.
Yeah, we went there. We drove through it Saturday, and there were kids running all through the streets. All the roads were blocked with cars. It would have been a nightmare for me to camp there. It's just too loud. That's not how I camp. But our little section it's on its own. It's a private rental area.
Yep.
And there's a giant pavilion there. It's got like 8 what do you call those tables?
Picnic
tables, yeah. But it's a big concrete floor pavilion with, a nice overhang. It is real nice. There's supplied water.
Yeah.
There's power. And there's bathrooms?
Yeah, I mean, they're more outhouses, I guess.
They're like permanent outhouses. It's a pit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to say this. In my experience, between construction and some other stuff, to me, they weren't that bad. I get they smelled a little bit more.
Really strong.
Yeah, but
and it was the smell of whatever the chemical they use.
But see, stuff. And that's that. I guess, and that's what I'm saying too, though. To me, though, because like I've been in outhouses or in porta potties, that are bad. And granted, these were not. What do you want to? These were not desirable. These are not what you. Oh, this is what you think of when you want to go somewhere and go to the bathroom.
It was uncomfortable for everybody to go to the bathroom, and I've been in some nasty porta potties.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Difference of opinions, I guess.
Maybe.
To me, it wasn't that bad. Again, like I said, it wasn't the preferred. If Erin had gone with us, she would have made the trip over to the bathrooms at the campground.
Sure. I peed in the woods a couple times.
I pretty much only peed in the woods. But I did use the quote unquote bathrooms twice while we were there. And like I said, wasn't the most pleasant. Like wish I had a book and could just sit here and read for a while. But again, it wasn't that bad to me.
And it was convenient that they were there. If we go again, I might call the people and say, "Hey, you think you can maybe pump this out before we go?"
Yeah.
Freshen it up a little bit, maybe
some poopery.
Put some poopery on the some Febreze.
But on the plus side, if we were to go over to the main camping area, they do have bathrooms, like and actual bathrooms. Yeah. They've got showers over there. For the area we've got though, it's also like some wooded areas. They've got the nice big grills that were there.
Yeah, it's like a sparsely wooded area. It's all pine trees, so where you can camp, I don't know, maybe 4 acres. 3 acres.
I'm not at all good at
I'd say about 3 acres of land where you can camp.
Yeah.
And it's just larger pines, and they cut out on the brush. So
yeah.
It's just larger pine trees, and then everything is just pine needles. So it's all soft to walk on.
What's that, a half acre, 3/4 acre field, kind of the open area over there?
Yeah. And then it's surrounded by woods.
Yeah. And then you got the lake on the...
And then there's the lake. And the lake was really pretty because when you look out, it's just more woods on the opposite side. You don't even hear all the commotion coming from the beach area where you can swim, the public swimming area, and the other campers. So it is secluded. It's quiet. It was, especially at night, it was great. We did the night kayaking at one point.
That was cool.
That was real nice.
To me, so I know, it was cool. We went together. We split the costs.
And that campsite was $50 a night.
Yeah, I say $50 a night for there. So I think the regular campsites, if you're just going to the tent, the RV ones are more expensive, but we don't have RVs, so it doesn't matter. It's like $12.50 a night if you do the other camping areas.
Yeah.
So with us splitting this, we did $25 a night.
Yeah, and if you had 4 or 5 families staying, it's negligible.
In all honesty, even if I was going up there with just me and the boys, and it was just me,
yeah, I'd still pay $50.
I would still pay the $50 a night to reserve that, because you can reserve it ahead of time. So if I know when I'm going to go camping, I'd call up there to reserve it, and I would absolutely pay the $50 a night to have that area just to myself and not have to deal with that fiasco of people over at the campgrounds.
Because the thing is, we have some similar wooded areas in the back of our property.
Yeah.
But you're far from water. You're far from toilets.
And you don't have a lake like that right there.
And I don't have that kind of a lake.
Yeah.
Our lake is it's a pond.
Yeah. And it's man-made.
And it's man-made, exactly. So as much as I'd like to camp out here, if you still need water and electricity, we still do. We're not primitive camping with the. Yeah, we could do that or go to that.
Yeah, place. But this would be, to me,
you can pull up, because the lake is right there. You can pull the kayaks right up to where you're camping.
I'm not opposed to doing an overnight sleeping outside, but to me, doing it here on the property here is more of a, hey, let's just go set up at the tent. Yeah. Let's do a campfire. We'll do a campfire, roast some marshmallows, and sleep overnight, and then in the morning we get up and maybe cook some breakfast or whatever. It's not really...
And then go back up to the house.
Camping.
Yeah.
Granted, this is not primitive backwoods camping either, but it's cool to be away from the house, away from your normal day-to-day stuff. And so, again, I liked it. I had a good time. The boys had a really good time. I don't remember actually the details we've put on the webpage or any of that stuff yet, but I guess just to give some perspective. So I've got 3 boys. Mine are 12, 10. He's almost 11, and 9.
Mine are about the same, but my oldest is 13.
Yeah, and you have 2 girls and a boy.
2 girls, and then boy's the youngest.
But they... Kaylin didn't do as much running around with everybody else. But no, she's getting a little bit older.
She's getting a little older. She's running around with the young kids. Yeah. She's into painting now. So
I know. She spent a bit of time drawing and stuff, which was cool. But the boys all had a blast. They really enjoyed it. Yeah. They had a good time. Really worth it. But I think we've come up with some things that'll make it a little bit easier on the parental side.
When the next trip we'll probably spend a little bit of money again, but not much.
Not as much as I did this time.
Not nearly as much.
Other than I got to buy a tent and sleeping bags.
Yeah, sleeping bags. I'm probably going to sleep on a mat next time and just...
Well, I don't have a sleeping bag.
Sleep next to my wife instead of on the same mattress. I can't... I slept so bad on that air mattress. I can't do it.
I've never slept good on an air mattress. I've heard yoga mats under your sleeping bag are great.
I know I should have bought them, but you know me, I'm cheap. But at Aldi, they had these... It's a self-inflating mattress, but it's a single, so it's like a twin size, but it has a pillow on the end. But when you unroll it, it just kind of inflates a little bit. and it's ends up being about 1.5 inches worth of inflation, but it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And I should have bought it.
How much was it?
$20. I'm so cheap.
Yeah.
But then you open up the little valve and you roll it up and it rolls, and it's it's smaller than a sleeping bag the way it packs. I mean, it's about the size of a yoga mat when you roll it up.
Really don't know why you didn't buy that.
Well, it was a twin. I'm like, what am I going to do with a twin? I'm not going to sleep by myself. But
you could have bought 2 of them and put them up next to each other.
Yeah, but Kristen won't sleep on that. She needs the air mattress. She can sleep on an air mattress.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing we can look at for next time. But
yeah, next time I think I'll just end up sleeping on the floor next to her on the air mattress.
Yeah, I will. I do need something other than just the blanket that I slept on. But yeah, that'll be so give us some time to work on putting some stuff together. And maybe next time what we'll do when we go in September, we'll talk about our camping trip a little bit, but we will actually this time we can do a video while we're there as well.
Yeah.
And we'll actually share some of the stuff we've put together as far as our prep stuff, totes, whatever we've got, what we brought with us to camping. We'll do a little video there, what the campsite looks like, how we're cooking, where we're setting up our cooking areas and fishing and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I plan to have a nice little cooking device while we're there.
Yeah. And
check out this Segway.
Yeah, there you go. Who makes Segways?
Segway.
Is that like actual the brand name, Segway?
Yeah, Segway.
I'll say if we do this enough, we might be able to get Segway to sponsor us if we promote our Segways good enough.
Just rename the podcast Segway.
Oh yeah, outdoor cooking. So we'll have a cool cooking device that we can try next time.
Well, we already told them last time what it was.
That is, I'm saying next time we go camping.
Yeah.
So that'll be back to what we do next week. We just wanted to talk a little bit about our camping trip this week.
It was still fresh in mind.
Yeah, and give you guys something extra to listen to us ramble on about. But we talked to, like Sean said, we already talked about what the plan is with that on our last podcast. So if you didn't catch it, go back and listen to that, and you'll know what we're going to talk about next time.
Right.
And we'll get back on schedule with that, and then we'll do the YouTube video to go along as well. So.
We do have a little special thing. We're gonna try to build one of these devices.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So.
Well, you'll probably end up doing that while I'm gone.
You're supposed to be helping, remember?
No, yeah, I know, but then I was thinking about it, and I'm not going to be here.
Oh, so you don't want one?
I do want one.
So I have to build yours now.
Yeah, you got to build mine. But hey, it'll give you more practice.
Yeah.
And then you build the first one. You'll have the experience. Then build the second one, and in this time you can keep the better upgraded one.
Really?
And I'll take the one you built first. That's not as well put together.
That's lopsided.
And then I'll give that to the kids. And I'll go buy one. So yeah, that'll be what we talk about next. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, listening to us talk about our camping trip.
Yeah.
And
go out and go camping.
Yeah. And again, we talk about this usually. Go leave us a comment on what you thought. Definitely would love to hear some comments back on what you do when you go camping. Any of the stuff we talk about. Do you have a list?
So go to Facebook for that.
Yeah. Or I mean, you could comment on the podcast too if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you can go to Facebook or social. Yeah. Go to one of the social media, Facebook, or put a couple things up on Instagram too. But Facebook would probably be the best one, like Sean said, I guess. But we've got a couple posts up about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, go respond. Let us know. Do you do any of these things? You have a list you use when you go camping? What kind of stuff is on your list?
Yeah. What's your level of camping?
What kind of activities do you do for your kids?
Primitive camper?
Yeah. Do you sleep on air mattresses or do you sleep on the ground?
Or do you bring a camper with you?
That's what I think Aaron would have a lot more fun if I bought an RV.
I remember going camping once when I was a teenager, and there were 3 of us guys. We were in like a 4-person tent.
Yeah.
And it was December, but it was in Florida. But it still got to be about 40 degrees at night.
So you guys had to cuddle up for body heat?
No.
Oh.
I'm fine. I had my sleeping bag. I was fine. One of the guys that was with us, and he was like the cool outdoor dirt bike guy.
Yeah.
He went and got in the van with his dad that had the heater running all night.
Is that Andrew?
Yeah. A different Andrew, though.
Oh. Not Jesus.
Not the Jesus Andrew.
I was really hoping it was going to have been him.
No, but his name was Andrew, which is funny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against the RV type thing, but that's not camping.
No, I'd like to do like a teardrop trailer.
I would like to get one.
Yeah. But eventually I'd like to go with my wife when the kids are out of the house, do some traveling with a camper.
Yeah. Well, I've talked about wanting to do that with the kids. If I could get...
I want like a small... I don't want to do that.
Well, what I would love to do is, we're homeschooling the kids anyway.
Yeah.
And I mean, I work remote. I work from the house, but I need to be more consistent right now. If I can get that kind of toned down a little bit, I would love to be able to kind of take more trips, going and visiting some of the different states with the kids as they're growing up.
Yeah.
Incorporating visiting these different states and some of the national parks into their schoolwork. And
that'd be fun. But, there's all our kids have one. There's like it's like a passport for national parks.
Oh, no.
And every time you go to a national park, you can go to the park ranger's office and they put a stamp
in
it. Yeah. And it's got them all listed. I mean, however many thousands of parks are all listed in this thing, and they just go and they stamp their stamp on it. Yeah, it's real neat.
Never heard of that before.
I'll have to find it and show you.
Yeah. I don't know that we've been to any actual state parks.
Any kind of federal park. I don't
know. Well, we went to one in Ohio. Or not in Ohio. I don't know why I keep saying Ohio. Colorado. We did, actually, and that was like within the first month or two after we moved out there.
Well, there are some that you wouldn't think are state parks.
Yeah. Well, that's something, now that I think about it, there was one we went and visited there in Colorado. Southern Colorado we went to. I don't remember what the name of it was. Garden of the Gods.
Really? Garden of the Gods?
Yeah. There was actually a statue there that looked like me. True story. It might have been Zeus, I don't remember. But
right.
Yeah, we went to that one. That one, I'm pretty sure that was what it was, Garden of the Gods. But that's cool. That'd be cool to do.
Yeah, I'll look into it. It's a neat little thing.
Because we were talking about actually when we go on our cruise in November, the boys don't need passports because we have ours.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the same thing, getting them passports just so that whenever we do a cruise or something like that, they could get it stamped, because that'd be cool. Like, I never did anything like that when I was a kid. I'd never. First time I went out of the country was when Aaron and I went on a cruise a couple years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been out of the country the same number of times I've been camping.
Been out of the country a few times.
But figured that'd be cool for kids. But we could probably sit here and go on tangents for another hour.
I thought we were wrapping this up.
Thinking we should go ahead and wrap this up, and we'll be back. We'll have the video up here shortly for our everyday carry bags that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
And then
sorry for the delay.
Yeah, just camping got in the way. But again, appreciate listening. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think.
We'd love to see some reviews on Apple.
I would absolutely love that. Let us know what you think, whether we're doing a good job or a bad job. If you think we're doing a bad job, then you don't have to leave any reviews.
Comments and reviews on Apple, that's what helps that almighty SEO algorithm here. So.
Yeah. But appreciate it as always, and we'll be back next week to talk about outdoor cooking.
Yes, we will. We hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode. If you'd like to show us support, please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast, as well as leave a comment. Also, you can swing over to our website at suburbanoutdoorsman.com, as well as all of our social media accounts. They all have exclusive content, as well as additional information on your hosts, Sean and Kevin, and our individual journeys that led us here.